Hello guys, how are you?
I'm Hardeep Singh. Welcome back to your own YouTube channel. IELTS updates and recent exams. For more updates related to recent IELTS exam writing test topics, listening, reading, practice test, and speaking, you got guesswork. Please, guys, participate in everyday listening and reading practice test to achieve your desired band score in your actual IELTS exam. Please hit the like and subscribe button. Press the bell icon for the upcoming notifications. Don't forget like, subscribe and share my YouTube channel and my Facebook page, IELTS updates and recent exams.
Part 1.
You will hear a man phoning a London tour agency to ask about tours around London. First, you have some time to look at questions 1 to 5.
Hi, London Premier Tours. How can I help?
Hi, I'm coming to London with my family and we'd like to see the city. We just wanted some information on the best way to do this.
Okay, I'll see if I can help. Firstly, when are you coming and for how long?
Let me see, we're leaving the US at the end of June. We're going to stay with friends in Oxford for a week, so we'll arrive in London around the 10th of July. It will just be for a few days as we fly to Paris on the 13th of July.
And how many people?
I'm coming with my sister and our parents.
And do you know what kind of things you want to see when you are here? Is there anything in particular?
Not really. We just want to see the main sights, Historical places, I guess. The places that London is famous for.
Well, as you only have a short amount of time, the best way to do that is probably by a bus tour. The tour costs £29 for adults and £14 for children for the day.
What time does it start?
Well, basically the ticket is valid for the whole day. The first bus is at 7 a.m., but buses depart every 20 minutes throughout the day up until 4 p.m. 6 p.m. It's summer now, so the buses run later. So you can start and finish whenever you want within those times.
So do you have to stay on the same bus the whole time?
No, it's a hop-on, hop-off service, so you can get off at whichever stop you like. You can then stay there as long as you like and then get back on another bus when it arrives.
Oh, okay. I see what you mean.
Before you hear the rest of the conversation, you have some time to look at questions 6 to 10.
What sights do you see on the tour then?
That depends on which route you choose. There are 3 routes, and we call them the red, yellow, and blue routes. There are many attractions, but the main attractions on the red route are St. Paul's Cathedral, the London Eye, and Buckingham Palace.
I'm not too worried about the cathedral, but I know my parents would enjoy the London Eye, so we'd better see that. What about the other routes?
The most famous places on the yellow route are Big Ben and the Houses of Parliament.
Ah, both of those would be interesting to see. And the blue route?
Harrods and Hyde Park Corner are on that route.
I'd like to see Harrods, but I don't think we'll have time for shopping, and I don't know Hyde Park, so we'll not go on that route. So we'd probably choose the red or yellow. What do we have to do about booking?
If you want to book, you can do that with one of our customer service operators on the phone. Or otherwise, you can go to our website and book. Some people just arrive on the day and buy a ticket on the bus. But if it's full, you may not be able to get a seat.
Probably best if we book in advance then, so I'll do it on the internet in a few weeks when we know exactly what dates will be there.
Okay. Well, it can get very busy in the summer over the 3 months of June to August, so it's probably best to book at least a week before you come. but you still have about 6 weeks before you leave, so you have plenty of time to think about it.
Okay, thanks. You've been a great help.
That is the end of part 1.
You now have half a minute to check your answers.
Now turns to part 2.
Now listen carefully and answer questions 11 to 14.
Okay, I'm here today to talk to you all about the panda. It is a species of bear that is under great threat from the damage that humans are doing to the places where they live. The panda is a peaceful animal that has a black and white coat and is loved around the world. It is a distinctive symbol of China, and the panda has also been the logo of the WWF, that's the Worldwide Fund for Nature, since it was set up in 1961. It is a member of the bear family. They live mainly in bamboo forests high in the mountains of western China. A panda's daily menu consists almost entirely of the leaves, stems and shoots of various bamboo plants. Bamboo contains very little nutritional value, so pandas must eat 12 to 38 kilograms every day to meet their energy needs. Newborn pandas are about the size of a stick of butter, so that is really small. But they can grow up to 330 pounds as adults. They are dependent on their mothers for the first few months of their lives. Panda cubs start to climb trees when they're only 6 months old, and as adults, the pandas make excellent climbers, despite their big weight. A panda's average life in the wild is 14 to 20 years, but a panda can live up to 30 years when they are looked after in places such as zoos. So why do we worry about pandas so much? Why are they important? Well, pandas play a very important part in the bamboo forests where they live by spreading seeds, which helps plants and trees to grow. In the Yangtze Basin, where pandas live, the forests are full of a vast variety of amazing wildlife, such as dwarf blue sheep, multicoloured pheasants, and other species that are in danger of extinction, including the golden monkey. Also, pandas bring huge economic benefits to local communities through ecotourism. Pandas have two main threats. The first is hunting, which is a constant concern. Poaching or killing the animals for their fur has declined due to strict laws and greater public awareness of the panda's protected status. But hunters seeking other animals in panda habitats continue to kill pandas accidentally. They are also threatened by habitat loss. In other words, by the loss of the home where they live. China's Yangtze Basin region is where the panda's main home is. But this area is an important economic region for this booming country. So roads and railroads are being built, and these are increasingly destroying the forest. This means that panda populations get separated, and so they can't find a partner to mate with and have babies. Destroying the forest also reduces pandas' access to the bamboo they need to eat to survive.
Now, you have some time to look at questions 15 to 20.
So what is being done to protect the panda? The Chinese government has established more than 50 panda reserves. Reserves are places in the wild where animals are protected, However, only around 61% of the country's panda population is protected by these reserves. The WWF is also playing a big part in protecting the panda. The idea for the WWF logo came from Chi-Chi, a giant panda that had arrived at London Zoo in 1961, the same year WWF was created. The people who set up the WWF were aware of the need for a strong symbol that everybody around the world would recognise. They agreed that the big, furry animal with her cuddly, black-patched eyes would make an excellent logo. This has helped to encourage many people to help support the panda. Controversially, a well-known television presenter called Chris Packham, who has hosted programmes about animals for many years on British TV, said pandas might not be worth saving. He explained that pandas are extraordinarily expensive to keep going. We spend millions and millions of pounds on this one species, but much less on others. He argues that it would be better to take all this money we spend on pandas and look after other natural places such as rainforests around the world. He says we have to accept that some animals are stronger than others. The panda is a bear that eats a type of food that isn't very nutritious. It gets diseases easily, and it's very difficult to breed. He thinks that extinction is very much a part of life on Earth, and we're going to have to get used to it in the next few years because climate change is going to result in all sorts of animals disappearing. However, I don't agree with him. The panda is quite a weak animal, but this is not why it is going to die or become extinct. When he says that if you leave them be, they will die out, that's simply not true. The reason it is in danger is because of the damage that humans are doing to the forests that they live in. If we don't destroy this, then they will survive in the same way that they have for thousands of years. And also, the places where the pandas live should be protected anyway. The panda shares its home with the red panda, golden monkeys, and various birds that are found nowhere else in the world. The pandas' numbers are increasing in the wild, so I don't see them dying out. Okay, I hope you've enjoyed my short talk on pandas. Are there any questions?
That is the end of part 2.
You now have half a minute to check your answers.
Now turns to part 3.
You will hear an interview between Dr. Mullet, a university lecturer, and a student, Fayed. First, you have some time to look at questions 21 to 25.
So, Fayed, you found my office quite easily?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you for coming such a long way for the interview. I believe you are from the Middle East. Now, Fayed, I really wanted to speak to you during this interview about two things: your exam results and your final year dissertation. Your thesis, your dissertation, that was something quite special. Your personal tutor actually sent me a copy, and I must say that for a third-year undergraduate, it is a very polished piece of work.
Thank you.
Yes, it is very promising. Now, the thing is, your tutor tells me that you weren't all that happy with your exams.
Well, the results aren't out yet, as you know. The first 4 were fine, but in the last 3 I lost my nerve a bit and didn't do so well. I know I didn't do as well as I could. I was worried when I'd handed in my exams.
Right. Well, exams are a bit of a game anyway. We can't all do well on the day. But here, exam results are not everything, as you know. I set great store by other factors in deciding whether we offer you a place on the master's course. Perhaps you could tell me a little about how you became interested in economics.
Yes, of course. Well, I've always been interested in social and economic history, So from a very young age, I read about the booms and crashes of the 19th and 20th centuries. I originally applied to study history at university, but when I got there, I realized I had the chance to study economics at a high level, so I changed. My mother used to be an economist at the World Bank, so I had her to help me and guide me, although she didn't help me write my final year paper.
No, quite. Now, you're applying for the master's course in the Economics of the Developing World, taught by myself and Dr. Brannigan. Why this particular course?
Well, I've read some of your work on the development of rural banks, and I thought this was a good place to be. I mean, this is my first choice.
Now you have some time to read questions 26 to 30.
And you're not worried about feeling homesick? You are still young, and Australia is a very long way from your home. I mean, your English is fine. There are no problems with language or attitude, but the distance from your family may make it hard for you at first.
I've thought about that, but it's a problem wherever I go. If I don't get in here, I'll probably take a place at university in England. That's just as far from home.
I see. And what are your long-term ambitions, Fayed? What do you want to do ultimately with your qualifications and your life?
I want to work in my country. You know there are some problems there, and I want to try to put right some of them in the economic infrastructure.
I see. And this is your last interview, I believe. That gives you 4 weeks before the next term starts. What will you do during your holidays?
Oh, I am going to relax. I was going to work on my English, but in fact I've got a couple of friends in Hamburg, so I think I'll go and stay with them instead, as I've never been to Germany.
I see. Well, Fayed, as you know, I can't give you a decision right away. However, I can tell you that you've made quite an impression with your application, and I think you should not worry too much about the place. My decision will be made tomorrow after I've seen the last candidate, and I'll let you know within the next 2 weeks.
Thank you very much.
Well, thank you for attending the interview.
That is the end of part 3.
You now have half a minute to check your answers.
Now turns to part 4.
You will hear a lecturer give a talk on nutrition. First, you have some time to look at questions 31 to 40.
Now, the topic of today's talk is nutrition, specifically vitamins and minerals. I'll be dealing first with some of the most common misconceptions about them. Then I'm going to talk about what vitamins there are, where they come from, and the quantities we need. We'll have some time at the end of the talk for any questions you may have. Okay, well, vitamins are known to the general public. In fact, the public knows more about them than it does about certain other key aspects of nutrition. One reason for this is that vitamins have been in the public eye for quite a while, at least since the middle of the 20th century, when their importance first became widely recognised. This awareness does mean that the public knows how important vitamins are, even if it doesn't mean that we all eat a healthy diet all the time. However, a problem does arise that is associated with this, which is the number of old wives' tales about vitamins. Usually these fallacies are not dangerous, but they do lead to an unnecessarily high intake of vitamin supplements. For example, it is widely held that high doses of vitamin C will cure colds and flu. I'd like to hit this one on the head. There is no evidence that any vitamin can cure anything. No, I'm afraid you'll just have to let time sort out your cold. And of course, the body can't store vitamin C, so those tablets you take are just an expensive waste of time. Another common belief with no evidence is the idea that vitamin A helps you see in the dark. Actually, there is some truth in this one, because vitamin A is necessary for good vision. But in the dark, in real darkness, nobody can see. And of course, taking too much vitamin A can actually be bad for you. But perhaps the most misleading idea, heavily promoted by certain companies, is that vitamins will make you intelligent. Now, while a healthy diet is essential if you are to make the most of your intelligence, there is no evidence whatsoever that vitamin supplements can make the slightest bit of difference. So what can vitamins do? Or perhaps more accurately, why do we need them? Well, the answer is that we need them for all sorts of reasons. Vitamin A, for example, also called retinol, is essential for good eyesight, especially at night, and to help us fight off infection and illness. We get it from liver, butter, egg yolks, and milk. Vitamin D, as is well known, is used to build strong teeth and bones, but it also helps us absorb calcium. Vitamin D is mainly formed in the skin through the action of sunlight. How much you need depends on different factors such as age and health. Vitamin E, tocopherol, is less well known, but is necessary in maintaining a healthy balance of fats in the body. We need 10 to 12 milligrams every day, and although some people take supplements, you can normally get what you need from a balanced diet. The B complex includes vitamins B1, thiamine, B2, riboflavin, B6, pyridoxine, and B12, cyanocobalamin. It performs many functions, including allowing our bodies to metabolize carbohydrates, forming healthy tissue, and perhaps most importantly, forming red blood cells to prevent pernicious anemia. We need varying amounts of the B complex, and while most of us can get enough from a well-balanced diet, vegetarians may find themselves deficient in B12, which is only found in any noticeable quantity in meat, especially liver. Finally, vitamin C is the one everyone knows. Ascorbic acid, as it's also known, helps fight infection, which perhaps accounts for the myth about preventing colds. It also helps protect against scurvy. We need 30 milligrams a day and can only really get this amount from eating plenty of citrus fruit and fresh vegetables. Now, in a moment I'll be moving on to talk about how we can plan a diet which will supply all our vitamin needs. But before that, I'd like to look at some of the recent advances in our knowledge of the ways vitamin deficiencies can affect us.
That is the end of part 4.
You now have half a minute to check your answers.
So guys, don't forget like, subscribe and share my YouTube channel and my Facebook page. IELTS updates and recent exams. For more updates related to recent IELTS exam writing test topics, listening, reading, practice test, and speaking, you cut guesswork. Please guys participate in everyday new IELTS listening and reading practice tests to achieve your desired band score in your actual IELTS exam. For more IELTS material, visit my official website www.ieltsupdatesandrecentexams.com. The link is given below in the description. If you need PDF files of latest IELTS material, then please join my Telegram channel. So guys, please write your score below the comment section. Again, thanks for listening. God bless you all guys. Stay tuned, stay safe.